Welcome to today's practice, and today we're going to focus on releasing the neck and the shoulder area. And this is certainly one of those areas or a couple of those regions of the body where a lot of people hold a lot of tension, myself included. And one of the key reasons that we hold a lot of tension in the neck and shoulders is because of the patterns we've created in the way we hold our bodies. We hold our heads, we hold our arms. And for many of us, we have developed a pattern of forward shoulders or lifted, rounded shoulders, and then also a little bit of forward head, where the head kind of comes forward and is no longer in alignment with the shoulders. So we've lost that nice postural alignment because of activities that we've done over time that have thrown our posture out of alignment in that area of the body. Activities such as working on the computer a lot, we kind of tend to roll the shoulders and lean forward when we do that. Also nowadays on the phone, we tend to kind of bring our heads forward when we're working on texting or any other thing that we're doing on the phone. So that is, those are some of the reasons that chronic neck and shoulder tension are prevalent in our modern day society. There's certainly other reasons as well, but those are two very common reasons why we tend to have those issues. So the practice today is an all levels practice. Even if you're a beginner to yoga, you'll be able to do it and benefit from it. And if you're someone who practices yoga regularly, but still experiences that kind of chronic tension in the neck and shoulders, once again, that's me, you're still going to be able to benefit from this all levels practice and feel some relief in those areas of the body. So we're going to be very gentle, but we're also going to be very targeted and very intentional with our practice today. And we're going to use certain props, and if you don't have specific yoga props, that's quite all right. I'm sure there's something in the house that you'll be able to use instead. So I'm using my bolster and a yoga blanket, but you could use any kind of cushion or multiple cushions or pillows with any kind of blanket that is supportive. As long as it's not too squishy, you can use it for our purpose today. And then I'm actually using just a hand towel here, which I'm going to use under my neck. So we're going to roll up just a regular old hand towel, and the amount you roll it up will depend on how it feels once you lay down. So that's going to be for our heads, and then this is going to be for our legs. And the reason why I have a blanket over the bolster, often we will use just the bolster for our knees, for our legs, but then there's always this kind of little gap here under the knee crease. And I like to have the knee creases fully supported. So I like to just have a little roll of a blanket on top of the bolster or the cushions that you might be using. And that way you're fully supported under there and it feels a lot better, I think. So just my preference. If you prefer not to have it, that's fine, as long as you're supporting your legs as we get into our practice. So those are what the things you'll need, and we'll get started. Okay, so we're going to bring our legs over the supports, ease ourselves down onto the mat. And this, like I said, this little hand towel here is going to be rolled up, and the placement will be right at the base of the skull, supporting the arc of the neck. So we're not going to have it under the head, propping the head up. We're actually going to allow the head to rest back onto the floor, onto the mat, and simply have the support at the base of the skull. So you can feel it right at the base of the skull, right at the arc of your neck there. So just allowing yourself to get settled with your supports, and just bring those arms out to the side for now for a moment. Taking a few nice big breaths in and out, and on the exhale, feel free to blow out the breath or sound it out. Taking that breath in. Two more. Good. Good. So hopefully with those 3 breaths, you've allowed the body to settle into the supports, letting go of any holding or tension that you may be noticing right away. And we're going to start with some gentle scrubbing of the occiput, basically. The occiput is the part of the skull that's right at the base of the skull there. Let's take a hold of either side of your mat. So I'm just grabbing a hold of the edges on either side of my mat. And what I'll be doing is pulling toward myself. So I'm pulling it. I'm trying to pull the mat toward me. And that's causing my body to kind of slide toward my feet. And what it's doing is offering a little bit of almost like a massage right at the base of my skull there, where the support is right at the base of my skull. So we're just going to do this a few times. And let's breathe with this. So taking a few nice big breaths. Maybe as you release the pull of your hands, you exhale, and as you inhale, you pull. Exhale, release. So we'll do a few more. I'm just kind of loosening up the tissue at the base of the skull there, at the top of the spine. Awesome. So then just relax once again. Let your head settle into that support once again. And now we'll take the head side to side. So I always like coordinating my breath. So I'll inhale at center. Exhale, turning the head to the left. And then inhaling center, exhaling, turning it to the right. So just continue this at your own pace. And as you do that, just notice how, again, you might feel like a little bit of gentle massaging right at the base of the skull where the support, the towel is supporting your neck there. And so if you're not feeling that, again, you may want to just adjust that so that it's more up at the base of the skull rather than down lower on your neck, so that you could really feel that little bit of massaging that's happening just with the movement, letting the weight of the head do the work. So letting the head sink into that support as you turn it side to side. We'll do one more. And then coming back to center, take a breath, and again, let the head settle into the support. Awesome. So with this next one, we're going to make a little bigger movement and forward and back. So inhaling, you're going to take the head up, let the chin go towards the ceiling, and then on the exhale, tuck that chin under slightly. And again, just a few times here, breathing with this movement. Continuing to rest into the support. So notice if you feel like you're lifting your head. We want to allow the weight of the head to stay heavy. And we're just doing this right against the support at the base of the skull. So the next time you tuck your chin, hold it there. Take those arms out like a T and then bring them into a cactus. So your hands might hit the floor, they might not, they may just hover. But really notice that you feel your shoulder blades pressing into the mat. Shoulder blades are really pressing into the mat here. The scapulae, the full shoulder blade, and that triangular bone called the scapulae on either side. And then relax the head back to neutral. So as you relax the head back to neutral, you'll really feel the flattening of the shoulder blades into the floor. We're just going to hang out here for a couple breaths. Notice any tension in the arms and shoulders. If you're resisting the release of those arms in this cactus, just take a few breaths in. Be very intentional, letting go of any holding through those arms, through the shoulders. As you hold it here with those nice big breaths, you might notice that your shoulders open up, that your arms release a little bit closer to the floor, or maybe they actually make it down to the floor. And we're going to take 2 more breaths here, letting go of those arms, letting go of those shoulders, just feeling gravity do its work as it pulls downward on the body. Awesome. We're going to do another movement here with those arms. So as you take a breath in, the arms will stay right where they are. And as you exhale, we're going to roll those hands forward. And then inhale, bring them back. And then exhale, roll them forward. So you may or may not touch the floor on either end. It doesn't matter. Just do the movement as best as you can. Inhaling, taking them back. Exhaling, rolling them forward. Starting to loosen up through those shoulder joints now. Breathe with this movement. Lower body is relaxed, legs are supported. One more. And ending with those arms in the cactus arm position. Take a regular breath here. And then on the exhale, straighten out into a T. And one more breath. Inhaling, let's bring those arms up towards the ceiling. So as you reach up, we're just going to alternately reach. Inhale as you reach, exhale as you release. Inhale as you reach, exhale as you release. So we'll do these a few times, straight up to the ceiling. And the next time you do this with your left hand, you're going to go out to the side, kind of the opposite corner. So reaching the right arm to the left corner, left arm to the right corner. Breathe with that movement, synchronizing breath and movement, getting a little bit of an upper body twist. We'll do one more set. And then both arms back at center, reaching up. On the exhale, take those arms back behind you and just lengthening through that upper body. So a little bigger arc occurs in that lower back. The heart rises slightly as you reach back. And then we'll just reach back one arm at a time. So reaching that right arm, breathe into that right side. Relax to neutral. Reach with the left arm. Breathe a couple breaths into that left side. And back to neutral. And then continue alternating with your breath. So inhale and reach right arm. Exhale, release. Inhale, release left arm or reach left arm. Exhale, release. We'll do one more set. Moving into that side body, opening up the side body with this reach. Relax as you reach back neutrally. Awesome. One more breath here. And then we'll take those hands, interlace them at the head, the crown of the head. Let those elbows go out to the side. So this is opening up through the shoulders and the arms again. If this feels too intense at the shoulders, you can always bring the hands to the forehead. That'll be a little less intensity at the at the shoulders, or again at the crown. If you want a little more intensity, you can actually take the hands right under the top of the head and do it that way too. So you decide where you want it. Either way, it's all good. We're just going to let the elbows sink downward. So breathe into those arms and shoulders. Once again, notice any holding. We have a tendency to hold through certain muscle groups. And we may think we've relaxed or released completely. But when you really pay attention and you breathe into those areas, you realize you could actually let go a little bit more. You could actually let the weight of the arms sink a little bit further down toward the floor or onto the floor. So take two more nice big breaths here, opening up through those arms and shoulders. Wonderful. With that next breath, gently release the fingers and again reposition into cactus arms. So our elbows are right in line with the shoulder blades. You might even look to either side to make sure. And you might feel those shoulder blades, those scapulae bones pressing into the floor once again. Just take a moment to let that settle. We'll take one more breath here. And then on the exhale, straighten out into those T arms. So once again, just looking to make sure that you are looking like a T and not a Y with those hands above your line of sight. We want to have our hands below the line of sight. And then let the weight of the arms sink into the floor once again. So allow your right arm to just stay fully relaxed into the floor. We'll lift the left arm off the floor and let it hover about an inch or so, an inch to 2 inches off the floor, just barely taking it up. And let the arm traction away from you. So imagine you have someone gently pulling at your fingertips over there. Wiggle those fingers if you need to. Keep the wrist loose, keep the elbow loose. But still, feel that traction. It might feel like you're creating space at that left shoulder. Breathe into the arm. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. Nice big breaths into that left arm. On the next exhale, gently ease the left arm down. Just let it go. Maybe shake it out a little. Let the weight of that left arm fully sink into the floor. And then we'll do the same with the right arm. So just very gently lifting an inch or 2 off the ground and tractioning away from you. So again, keep the joints loose in that right arm. Wiggle them out if you need to. But feel that gentle pull. Now as you're doing this, try to keep that left arm as relaxed as possible. The tendency is to start tensing the left arm, which is on the ground now. And so take a couple breaths, relaxing that left arm, but tractioning through the right arm. Breathing through any discomfort, any sensation. 2 more big breaths here. As you exhale next time, ease that arm down to the floor. Relax that right arm into the ground. Both arms just settling into the ground. Take a big breath in and just let the weight of the arms sink. Let the shoulders sink. Let's do a little movement side to side with that neck again. Releasing at the base of the neck. At the base of the skull, at the top of the neck. And then back to center once again. Awesome. So we'll do one more thing in this position, and that is getting the lower body involved. So bring those feet right up onto whatever you're using for your supports. And keeping the feet up on top of your supports, take a breath in, and on the exhale, let's take those knees off to the left. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, those arms weighted into the floor just like you had them. And then let the legs just go as far over to the left and sink. So if you feel like you're holding those legs together purposely, just allow them to go where they want. So if that left leg wants to sink a little lower, let the left leg sink a little lower. Allowing the legs to just settle over to that left side, wherever they fall. Breathe into any resistance you feel. Breathe into any engagement you feel. Releasing engagement, minimal engagement to hold the legs in this spinal twist position. So my head's looking straight up, but if you'd like, you could always turn your head to the right to look at your right hand. That's up to you. If that feels good to your neck and getting a full twist here, you certainly can. But you also have the option of looking straight up as well. We'll take 2 more nice big breaths here. As you take your next in-breath, slowly bring the head to center if you had it to the side. Knees come to center, take a moment, and then exhale, go to the other side. Again, your head could also turn left while the knees go right. Let those legs go. So if that right knee wants to go a little bit further down, let it go down further. Breathe. It's almost like you're settling your legs into the support there, wherever they may fall into that support. Hanging off of the support. Shoulders stay relaxed, arms are weighted to the ground still. Feel your breath. Sending that breath right into any areas of sensation, areas of stretch. Being very intentional with that breath. One more nice breath here. And with the next inhale, gently bring those knees back up, head comes back to center. Awesome. So keeping the feet on top of your supports the way you have them now. Let's gently raise that left leg straight up, point and flex a few times here, getting a nice lengthening through that left leg. Let's do a little rotation through that left ankle. Both directions. And then gently flex the foot. Now imagine that you're making a footprint up at the ceiling, and you're going to imagine pressing up through the base of the big toe, the base of the pinky toe, and the base of the heel. So I call them the tripod points of your feet. Imagine that you're pressing up through those points, and at the same time, press down right at that left hip. So imagine that that hip bone, or the femur bone, the leg bone here, is pressing down, pushing down into the mat while you're foot is pressing up to the ceiling. So we're really getting an active stretch as well as some strengthening there through that left leg. 2 more breaths. And on that next exhale, gently bend that knee, bring that foot down. And just a little bit side to side, shake those legs out. And then we'll bring them back to center. And we'll do the same thing now with the other side, straightening out that right leg. And if your leg is not fully straight, that's okay. Feel free to have the knee bent. That's quite all right. Just straighten it as best as you can. And I've been doing the little point and flex with my feet and rotations in both directions to loosen that up. And then we're going to flex the foot as best as we can. So flexing the foot, pressing up through the tripod points of that right foot as if you're making that footprint up on the ceiling. And at the same time, pressing down through the right hip. Imagine that you're pushing down through that right hip while you're pressing up through that right foot, activating that right leg, opening up through the back of the leg, breathing. It also helps to just gently press the opposite foot, so my left foot into the support. And that really gives me some really good balance here as I press up with the right foot. 1 more breath. And then on the exhale, gently bend that knee. So bringing that foot back to the support. Again, just a few times side to side. And then come back to center. Inhaling, bring those knees in. Let's take hold of those knees and just hug those knees in. Maybe you do a little rocking here as well. Flattening out that back. Wonderful. So knees come to center. And then very gently we're going to roll to one side, whichever side you choose, and slowly come on up. And once we are up, we're going to move our accessories out of the way. So let's move the cushions, the bolster out of the way there. Now, the hand towel you might want to keep. I'm actually going to keep my hand towel right here because we're going to use that for our head as we come lying prone. So lying prone means we're lying on our bellies. We're going to come down and bring the chin or the forehead to your hand towel. Legs are straight. And we're going to bring those arms into cactus arms again in this prone position. So just checking shoulders are straight out extensions of the, elbows are straight out extensions of the shoulders. So that means we're not up here, we're not down here, we're in that nice 90-degree angle, cactus arms. And just settling, so let the body settle here. Maybe we bring those feet up and just do a few windshield wiper movements side to side to relax and release the hips, the pelvis, the lower back in this position. And then after a few of those, we can bring the feet back down. We're going to start with a half frog here. So let's turn the head. I'm going to turn to my right and then bring the right knee up. And the right knee comes in line with the right hip and trying to bring a 90-degree angle to that right knee, the heel right under the knee as best as you can. And just allowing yourself to settle into this half frog. Couple of nice big breaths here. Feel the body settling. Just notice where you're holding on, where you're engaging and you don't need to engage. Those are our holding patterns, those areas of the bodies where muscles will engage even when they don't need to engage. There's no reason for them to activate, but they do anyway. A lot of that is simply habitual. So you might notice that in your glutes, you might notice that in your shoulders, your upper back, your jaw. These are all very common areas. So just maybe do a little body scan here as we take a few more breaths in this half frog. Letting go, settling, releasing. And then we're going to open up through those shoulders a little bit more here. So I'm going to extend my left arm straight out like a half T. And I'll take my right hand in front of my right shoulder, pressing down into the floor. I'm going to tilt or turn my body, my
towards the ceiling. And that's going to cause a little stretch at the front or the top of that left shoulder, the front of that left shoulder. And I might even spider walk my left fingertips away to create a little more space there at that shoulder so that as I press, I can really feel that opening there. So this may be the first place and the only place you hold this, depending on how much tension or restriction you feel at that left shoulder. Really be mindful here. So breathe into this, just let that left arm relax. Notice if you're resisting by engaging the left arm. Really, the only engagement or activity here is that right arm working here to kind of hold you up, prop you up. Now you can go deeper if you like, if that left shoulder allows it. You can bring that right knee up so that you can leverage deeper into that twist. And you could hold it here. Again, letting the left arm completely relax. So again, if you're feeling resistance to the stretch, don't go any further until you're able to completely relax and disengage that left arm. Breathe into the shoulder. And again, you could go deeper. Now, these are all options. You could still be at that first stage if you feel that's where you need to be. So please honor your body and notice where it feels right for you. You're going to benefit regardless of where you are in this pose. But if that left shoulder allows you to go deeper, you could take that right foot behind your extended leg to go even further into the twist. Again, this is only an option if that left arm allows you to do it without resisting. That's the key. Trying to breathe into resistance, letting go of that resistance at that left shoulder. I'm going to come back because that seems like a little much for my left shoulder. So again, you decide. We're going to finish up with 2 more big breaths wherever you want to hold it. And with that next exhale, slowly come back down into that half frog. And just take a moment here. And then release that right leg back. Bring your chin onto the floor. Let's lift those legs or those feet a little side to side before we go to the other side. And then easing the feet back down. Let's do half frog on the other side. So turning my head to the left, taking the knee up in line with the hip, 90-degree angle there. And again, settling, just settling here. Nice big breaths. Noticing where you're engaging, where you could let go. And then we'll go into the shoulder opener for that right arm. So the right arm will go into that half T. Left hand will come by that right shoulder and pressing into the floor. First, just finding that initial upper body twist as you create space. Maybe spider walk those fingers a little further away. And I recommend, even if you think you can go further, just hang out here for a couple breaths and really just settle. Really release that resistance through that right arm. Take your time before moving on to the next stage if your body wants to. So if you do want to bring the left knee up to leverage deeper into the twist, you can go ahead and do that whenever you're ready, if you're ready. Again, you don't have to, it's optional. Maybe again you spider walk further out if that right shoulder allows you to open up more. And of course, if you wanted to go into the deepest positioning, you could take that foot to the outside of the extended leg. You decide where you want to be. I'm going to come back to that second stage, which feels best for me today, because we're going to hang out here for at least a few more breaths. So you decide where to hold. Your head is relaxed. Make sure your head is on the floor, not hovering. That's another reason why you might have this here. In fact, if you feel like you need to fold your hand towel so you have a little bit of a raised support for your head, you can certainly do that. That might feel better for the neck. We're going to take 2 more nice big breaths. And then slowly on that next exhale, ease back down into your half frog. And then gently bring your leg back nice and straight. Let's bend those knees one more time. Little windshield wipers side to side. And then coming back to center, ease the feet down. Wonderful. So while we're here, we're going to do a little Sphinx pose. Let's bring those hands above the shoulders, but really close to the body. Tucking those elbows in so that we're not chicken wings splayed out like this. Pull the shoulder blades back, tuck those elbows to the body. Press those hands into the floor as you engage your back to lift. And then slide the hands forward so that your elbows are under the shoulders or slightly in front. Your forearms are parallel. And we're pressing into the floor evenly through those hands. So as you press the hands, the forearms into the floor, you're lifting up through that heart space from the navel up, in and up through the navel, lifting the heart. The neck is neutral. So just finding a focus point in front of you to gaze at. And whatever surface of your body is touching the floor, so the tops of my feet, the front of my pelvis, my hands, my forearms, all of that is gently pressing down along with my shoulder blades. And my navel, my rib cage, my head is gently lifting up. So we've got those opposing forces in our body that we're feeling. I'm going to take 2 more breaths in this Sphinx pose. And with that next breath, slowly bring it down again. And you might bring your hands under your head, turn your head to one side. One more time, up with the feet. Windshield wipers. And bringing those feet back down. Hands back under those shoulders, elbows nice and snug on that inhale. Press it up. On the exhale, let's come into a nice child pose. Hips to the heels, head to the floor. So this is where you might bring a little support under the head if your head doesn't comfortably go all the way down to the floor. If you need a support under the hips, feel free to grab your blanket or your cushion. Place that support under your hips if that feels good for your knees or your hamstrings. So you decide what feels good to you as you settle into your child pose here. A couple of nice big breaths into the back body. Feel the breath, fill the back body. So little active stretch here through the arms and shoulders, since that's one of our focus for today. Lengthen those arms as far forward as you can. Come onto your fingertips and press down through those fingertips with the palms up, and then pull back through the hips and the shoulders. So you're anchoring through your fingertips and you're gently pulling back through the shoulders, through the hips, really opening up through those arms, opening up through the shoulder joints. Relax the head. That's why the head needs a support here. Breathe. Relax the neck. No strain on the neck. Focusing on the shoulder joints. A couple of big breaths here. And on the exhale, let it go. Let those arms relax. Take a couple of big breaths here. Completely letting go of any engagement now. And then slowly take those arms out to the side, again like a T. So straight out from your shoulder blades. Same thing, press down. Reach out as far as you can. Press down through the fingertips. Breathe. And you're going to gently pull back through the hips. So you're anchoring through those fingertips, gently pulling back through the hips. A different type of opening and stretch for the shoulders. A couple more breaths. Feel the big breath right on the around the side body, right at the sides of the shoulders here. Breathe into the back body. And relax those arms at your sides, or however you want. You might have them up by your head, or you could have them more towards your back. Just letting go once again, disengaging completely. Awesome. Let's bring those hands right under the shoulders and gently bring it up. So as you come up, we will move our props. We're going to come into a table pose. So for some of us, it might feel good to have your blanket under your knees. Feel free to go ahead and set that up if you feel like you want your blanket under your knees for your table pose. We'll do a few cat-cows here. Bring a little movement and energy along that spine. So hands right under those shoulders, knees right under the hip centers, shins are parallel. Nice neutral spine, so we're not dumping into our gut here. We're not rounding the back until we start doing cat-cows. We start off in that nice neutral flat back feeling in our table pose. Even weight through the hands. So just allow yourself to settle here first. We often don't hold table pose just for the sake of table pose. It's usually the starting point for so many other things. But just allow yourself to feel your table pose with that even weight through your hands, shoulders away from the ears, neutral neck. Notice if you feel like your head is sinking or lifted. Try to find that neutral position for your neck. Neutral spine. Awesome. And now we'll begin with some cat-cows. So inhaling, crown and tail will go up as you bring your heart space down. Exhaling, navel pushes up, heart pushes up as the head and the tail go down. Find your flow. Allow your breath to guide you here. Notice how that feels all along the spine. One more flowing cat-cow. And then we'll come back to center into that neutral spine, flat back feeling into our table pose. Let's do one down dog here. So it's curl the toes onto the mat. When you're ready, gently lift it up and press up through those sit bones. So the hands are firmly planted. You press up through those sit bones. I always love to encourage knees bent at first so that we can really get that full extension along the spine. The neck is neutral. Engaging the core so you allow for the natural curves of the spine here. Strong arms opening up through those armpits to really open up those shoulders, pressing down through those hands. If you'd like to do a little pedaling movement, you certainly can, but we want to maintain that nice full length of the spine. Breathing here. Opening up. All through the side body, all through the arms and shoulders, all along the spine. And then come back to neutral. Maybe you bring those heels closer to the floor. Maybe you don't. One more movement here. A little wagging of the tail, taking the hips to one side, back to center, and then to the other side. So a few times at your own pace, I like to look and turn the opposite side. So my hips go right, I look left. My hips go left, I look right. You're gonna do one more set. And then come back to center and slowly bring it down. Awesome. Once you come down, let's bring it on up, standing on your knees. And just take a moment here as you come to your knees. Bring the pelvis upright, hips over those knees. Let's just roll those shoulders out. Coordinating your breath. Maybe you inhale up, exhale down. A few times, letting the shoulders relax, letting the arms be loose. The next time you come down, inhale up, exhale down in the opposite direction. Awesome. And give it a little shake. Let it go. Wonderful. So we're going to come onto our seat. So this is going to be a floor practice. We're going to stay on the mat for the practice. And you might use I was about to put my blanket to the side, but you might actually use it to give you a little extra support for your seat so that your hips stay nicely elevated. So feel free to do that, sitting towards the front of your support so that your knees drop lower than your hips. And just finding that nice, comfortable seat. So let's just get settled in our seat for a moment. And then we'll release the neck a little bit more from this seated position. We'll start off by taking the left ear to the left shoulder. Right hand will come to the floor and just walk that hand out as far as it feels comfortable to you. And in doing that, you're going to feel a little more opening, a little more stretch along the right side of the neck. So if it feels like it's too much, you bring the fingers closer to you. And if you want a little more, you try to take them out a little further. And then we'll take the left hand and we'll just very gently place that hand. We're not pushing or pressing. We're just placing that left hand on the head to further open up and accentuate the stretch. As we're doing this, check in with the spine. Make sure we're not kind of rounding the back and dumping into our gut. We always want to keep that core gently engaged to keep the rib cage lifted. And just find a couple breaths here. Now, I like to also maybe move that chin up and down here sometimes. Very mindful movement. Very intentional, mindful movement. Really paying attention to some of those kinks. And you might even hold it when you find a little kink or a sweet spot or a sore spot as it may feel. Breathe into that spot. And as that opens up or softens for you, you might continue with the movement. And maybe you will find another spot, or maybe you just keep moving. And with that next breath, we'll come back to ear over shoulder, release the hand down, bring that head up, relax those arms, and let's just look to either side, little neutral movement for the neck. And then come back and we'll do the other side. So right ear to right shoulder. Maybe walk that left hand out a little bit further if that feels good. To stretch it a little bit more. A couple of big breaths here, right into the left side of the neck. And if you feel like you want to add more, we take the right hand, place it at the head. Breathe into the left side of the neck. Let it go. You might add the little movement that I like. Mindful movement, nothing jarring, nothing fast. Really feeling the nuances, noticing as you move where you're feeling the stretch or the resistance along the neck. And maybe holding it in one of those extra tender spots, extra resistant spots. And then we'll bring it back to ear over shoulder. Release that right hand down. Slowly bring it back. Awesome. Again, just a little neutral side to side. And then coming back to center. Wonderful. We're going to do one more nice movement here to end. And that's going to be inhaling up, reaching through those shoulders,
So breathe, arms and shoulders lengthen, lower body grounds you down. And then on the exhale, go about halfway, palms are up. Relax the shoulder blades down as far as you can. I know there's that tendency, right? We talked about the tendency to kind of pull those shoulders up or hold them up. Really try to roll the shoulder blades back and down, holding them in that position and letting the arms gently traction out. So kind of like what we were doing when we were lying down and we were tractioning the arms out slightly, but we were supported by the floor. This time we're not supported by the floor. We actually are kind of working against gravity a bit. As we do this, you might feel your arms working a little harder here. The muscles along the side body working a little harder here. We're going to allow them to work just a little bit harder for another breath or two. And then on that inhale, we're going to expand the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades as you open up just a little bit more. And on the exhale, round the back and bring those hands forward to touch. And we're going to continue this movement. Inhaling, open it up. Exhaling, round it. So it's kind of like a seated cat-cow in a way. Rocking on the pelvis as you flow your arms open on the inhale and close on the exhale. We're going to do one more. And on this last one, as you bring those hands together, hold it for an extra breath. And then on that next inhale, bring those hands to that heart space, sitting up nice and tall. Let's just gently bow that head down towards our heart space. And just notice how it feels. Notice how the neck feels, the shoulders, the arms. Lifted spine. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that this was helpful to you. I hope your neck and your shoulders feel a little looser, a little stronger as well. And I look forward to the next time. Be well.